Classroom-based assessment 1, exploring the application of control systems in the local context. This resource has been designed as a support for applied technology teachers as their students engage with Classroom-based assessment 1, exploring the application of control systems in a local context. Note, it is recommended that you view this resource in conjunction with the guidelines for classroom-based assessments for applied technology. In this resource, we will appreciate the role of Classroom-based assessment 1 in applied technology. We will explore the structure of Classroom-based assessment 1, exploring the application of control systems in a local context. And we will consider the importance of the subject learning and assessment review process for classroom-based assessments. This video has the following bookmark sections. First, we will take an overview of CBA 1. Then we will take a look at getting ready. To complete the CBA, we will explore the 4 areas of activity, including research and analysis, function, evaluating their classroom-based assessment, and communicating their classroom-based assessment. Following on from this, we will consider how we decide on the level of achievement. And finally, we will consider the next steps. The junior cycle places a strong emphasis on assessment as part of the learning process. Through classroom-based assessments, students will have opportunities to actively develop a wide range of knowledge, understanding, skills, and values within the subject of applied technology. Active student engagement with classroom-based assessments promotes the key skills of junior cycle, allowing them to be more expressive and creative, to think for themselves, to communicate, and to be able to apply the skills that they have learned. They also support students in learning how to learn and to take responsibility for their learning. This can be achieved through an active and collaborative learning environment that allows for student voice and choice in the way they learn. Given the changing nature of knowledge, the ease with which students have access to information, and the pace of change in the workplace and the world generally, these competencies and skills are critical to the preparation of young people for learning and living. Classroom-based assessment 1 provides opportunities for students to conduct research on the application of a control system that is of interest to them in their own context. The importance of this classroom-based assessment is that it encourages students to engage in the practice of research and communication of their findings. Information regarding the CBA is available in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments, which are available on www.curriculumonline.ie. The table shown provides a brief overview of classroom-based assessment 1. CBA 1 will take place in year 2 of junior cycle. For this classroom-based assessment, students will conduct an investigation and presentation on the application of a control system of their choice. The student can communicate their learning through any appropriate media. Students can collaborate, but each student must present an individual piece of work. The CBA will be completed within a 3-week window with support and guidance from the teacher. The CBA will be reported to the student and parent or guardian by the school, as with all other classroom-based assessments. Details regarding planning, preparation, completion, assessment and reporting of CBA 1 are available in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. While engaging with CBA 1, students should first choose an application of a control system that is of interest to them in their local context. Students will then carry out research in relation to their chosen control system. Once the students have conducted their research, they will then analyse and draw conclusions on their findings. This classroom-based assessment is designed to encourage the development of research and evaluation skills throughout the 3 years of junior cycle. This slide sets out the recommended process for conducting a classroom-based assessment. The aim of this process is to provide guidance for teachers as they support their students in completing their CBA. The process involves the following stages: getting ready, completing the CBA, deciding on the level of achievement, and next steps. We will now take a closer look at the various stages of this process. So let's take a look at how we can get students ready for CBA 1. Throughout the 3 years of junior cycle, students should have opportunities to develop research and evaluation skills, which will help them to engage meaningfully with CBA 1, exploring the application of control systems in a local context. Where opportunities arise, their curiosity should be fostered to explore topics and ideas that are of interest to them, and they should be encouraged to identify relevant links between classroom learning and everyday life. While this classroom-based assessment is primarily focused on the energy and control strand, students should have developed some knowledge, values, understanding and skills across the 3 strands of study in applied technology before engaging with the first classroom-based assessment. Subject departments should discuss the classroom-based assessment and plan any teaching and learning that may be required. Teachers should familiarise themselves with the following documentation: the applied technology specification, the applied technology guidelines for the classroom-based assessments, annotated examples of students' work, assessment and reporting in junior cycle. And these documents are available on www.curriculumonline.ie. We will now take a closer look at the areas of activity the students will focus on as they complete their CBA. Students will engage in and communicate the following areas of activity which contribute to the completion of Classroom-Based Assessment 1. Research and analysis, function, evaluating their classroom-based assessment, and communicating their classroom-based assessment. In completing their classroom-based assessment, students will capture and communicate evidence of their learning through a learning log. We will now explore each of these 4 areas of activity. The first area of activity focuses on research and analysis. Once students have decided on the application of a control system they wish to focus on, students should gather data and information from different sources to research their CBA. They should conduct their own research using some field or primary research and some desk or secondary research. They should record their sources of all their information gathered in order to assess its reliability and quality, and to ensure that the sources used can be referenced in the task. They should search effectively, evaluate and synthesize material. Students could also define their ideas by brainstorming keywords, phrases or other pieces of information that will assist their research. Students will capture and communicate evidence of this research and analysis through a learning log. The guidelines for the classroom-based assessments provide some examples of possible control systems for your students to consider. What is important is that students should be encouraged to be curious about applications of control systems around them. Students should try to identify an area of interest and try not to engage in a task too big, bearing in mind the time available to complete the CBA successfully. The second area of activity for CBA 1 focuses on the function of their control system. Once the research and analysis has been conducted, students will try to make meaning of this data, relating their findings to explain how their chosen control system functions or operates. Students are encouraged to consider their existing knowledge of their control system, combine it with the knowledge gained through research to gain a better understanding of their chosen control system. The third area of activity for CBA 1 focuses on students evaluating their classroom-based assessment. In terms of evaluating their classroom-based assessment, the aim here is for students to develop a personal opinion or draw definite conclusions from the learning experienced through engagement with the classroom-based assessment. Students should evaluate what they have learned about the control system they focus their task on. They should reflect on the process that led them from start to finish of their submitted work. Students may also wish to focus on exploring the importance of the control system in a personal, local, social or environmental context. Were they able to apply their knowledge, understanding and ideas of their chosen control system? Explain different opinions related to the chosen control system where appropriate. Reflect on what they thought about before engaging in the research process and what they think now. Or, how will the learning gained from exploring the application of control systems in the local context be applied in future classroom activities? The fourth area of activity for CBA 1 focuses on students communicating their classroom-based assessment. Students should present what they have learned, having investigated a control system of their choice through their learning log. They should present information in their own words. They should demonstrate personal understanding of the knowledge and ideas relevant to their chosen control system. They should be encouraged to identify which information best communicates their work, and they should choose the most suitable medium in which to present their CBA. Each student will present what they have learned using an individual learning log. Students should be encouraged to identify which information best communicates their work and choose the most suitable medium in which to present it. Examples of mediums that could be used are written form such as a report, digital form such as a blog, a video or slide presentation, visual form such as a graphic presentation or a display, audio form such as a podcast or a voiceover. The student's response to their classroom-based assessment can be produced in any format that is appropriate for capturing the ideas of the students. The mediums or formats listed are not intended to be exhaustive, but serve to offer suggestions as to the possible choices in presenting the classroom-based assessment. Providing our students with opportunities to experiment with a variety of mediums and formats throughout first and second year is of great benefit to students. It will enable them to have a voice to make informed choices on how they can best communicate, not just for classroom-based assessments, but for life in general. These opportunities will encourage students to be more expressive, creative, and more effective in how they communicate. Deciding on the level of achievement. Upon completion of their CBA, students submit their learning log. The teacher will then carry out a provisional assessment of the student's work based on the features of quality and award a provisional descriptor. So what will support teachers in this work? Supports regarding the classroom-based assessments are available at www.curriculumonline.ie. They include the Junior Cycle Applied Technology Specification. Along with providing a course outline, the specification provides a brief overview of the assessment components for the subject. The guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. These provide general information on classroom-based assessments, the features of quality used to describe the level of achievement for each classroom-based assessment, and guidelines for schools, teachers and students on completing the classroom-based assessments. The annotated examples of students' work. The purpose of these examples is to support teachers' professional development and are not intended to exemplify the only approach students can take when engaging with classroom-based assessments. Further examples will be added to this section of the website over time. Teachers may find it helpful to review some of the relevant annotated examples of students' work from the NCCA prior to coming to decisions about their own students' work. Once students have completed their classroom-based assessment, they will submit their work to their teacher. The teacher will carry out a provisional assessment of their students' work based on the features of quality and award a provisional descriptor. There are 4 level descriptors of achievement in each classroom-based assessment: yet to meet expectations, in line with expectations, above expectations, and exceptional. The teacher should read the features of quality, starting with yet to meet expectations, until they reach a descriptor that best describes the work being assessed. The descriptor being awarded should closely match the criteria for that level descriptor within the features of quality. We will now take a brief look at the features of quality for Classroom-Based Assessment 1. Here we see the features of quality for Classroom-Based Assessment 1, exploring the application of control systems in a local context. The teacher should read the features of quality, starting with yet to meet expectations, until they reach a descriptor which best describes the work being assessed. The features of quality are available from the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. For illustration purposes, the features of quality for the level descriptor of in line with expectations are shown. Note the bullet points on the right-hand side of the table indicates the 4 features of quality for the descriptor of in line with expectations. Classroom-based assessment 1 in applied technology consists of 4 features of quality for each level descriptor. Please refer to the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments to see the features of quality for all 4 descriptors for classroom-based assessment 1. As mentioned earlier, the 4 areas of activity carried out by students for CBA 1 are research and analysis, function, evaluating their classroom-based assessment, and communicating their CBA. These areas of activity align with the features of quality as seen now. We can see clearly how the 4 areas of activity for CBA 1 align with the features of quality for the level descriptor of in line with expectations shown. To illustrate this further, this slide will show how the 4 areas of activity carried out by the students for CBA 1 aligns with the features of quality for each level descriptor. So area of activity 1, research and analysis, aligns with the first feature of quality in each descriptor. Area of activity 2, function, aligns with the second feature of quality in each descriptor. Area of activity 3, evaluating their classroom-based assessment, aligns with the third feature of quality in each descriptor. And area of activity 4, communicating their classroom-based assessment, aligns with the fourth feature of quality in each descriptor. When awarding a descriptor, the teacher should read the features of quality, starting with the descriptor yet to meet expectations, until they reach a descriptor that best describes the work being assessed. The descriptor being awarded should closely match the criteria for that level descriptor within the features of quality. Teachers should not assume that the results of a group of students being assessed will follow any particular distribution pattern, as the students' work should only be judged against the features of quality rather than on other students' performances. Details regarding the descriptors and the features of quality for CBA 1 are available in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. So now we're going to take a look at the next steps. After provisionally deciding on the level of achievement and awarding a level descriptor, teachers will then take part in a subject learning and assessment review or SLAR meeting. The guidelines for the classroom-based assessments provide more detailed guidance on teacher participation and engagement in subject learning and assessment review meetings, and details on facilitation of these meetings. They also provide details regarding the recording and reporting of results from classroom-based assessments, and it also provides guidance on providing effective feedback. Please refer to the appropriate section of the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. The Subject Learning and Assessment Review or SLAR process has an important role to play in developing teacher understanding of the standards and expectations of students. This is supported by teachers meeting to reflect and discuss the evidence of their students' work. This SLAR meeting will provide better consistency of teacher judgment, greater alignment of judgments against expected standards, and better feedback to students. The SLAR process also promotes the practice of collaboration, whereby teachers share the learning and teaching strategies used to support students' work. In preparation for the subject learning and assessment review meeting, each teacher will identify one sample of students' work for each descriptor, where feasible, and will have these available for discussion at the meeting. Teachers will bring their own examples of students' work to the meeting and discuss their provisional judgments with other colleagues. Subject learning and assessment review meetings enable teachers to collaboratively reach consistency in their judgment of student work. This work is supported by referring to the features of quality as set out in the assessment guidelines, and also by referring to the annotated examples of student work provided by the NCCA. One teacher of the meeting will prepare for and coordinate each review meeting. This role will normally be rotated among the relevant teachers. Over time, this process will help develop a greater understanding of standards and ensure consistency of judgment about students' performance. It is recommended that you become familiar with the information regarding subject learning and assessment review meetings in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. During a SLAR meeting, teachers will have an opportunity to discuss student samples, beginning with the sample provisionally assessed as yet to meet expectations. The general discussion will focus on the extent to which the student's work matches the relevant features of quality. Where there is a lack of agreement, teachers should refer to relevant annotated examples of students' work provided by the NCCA, and if appropriate, a couple of examples of students' work from other teachers. Whilst the meeting should look to establish consensus during the discussion, the emphasis should be on developing teachers' professional knowledge and skills rather than on seeking unanimous agreement over every feature of quality in every sample discussed. The emphasis during review meetings is on developing the skill of professional judgment and reaching an agreed understanding of standard and quality. This best fit approach allows teachers to agree the descriptor that on balance is most appropriate for the work being assessed. The process is repeated in turn with samples provisionally awarded with other descriptors. To summarise the SLAR process, before a SLAR meeting, students will, upon completion of their CBA, submit their learning log. The teacher will carry out a provisional assessment of their students' work based on the features of quality and award a provisional descriptor. During a SLAR meeting, the subject department will discuss samples of their students' work to support consistency of judgment and to develop a common understanding about the quality of student learning against common externally set features of quality. After a SLAR meeting, the teacher will, based on the outcomes of the meeting, reconsider the judgments they have made to their students' work, if necessary, and award a final descriptor. The teacher will record and report results from classroom-based assessments and provide students with effective feedback. For more detailed information on facilitating and participating in the subject learning and assessment review meeting, please refer to the appendix of the guidelines from the classroom-based assessments and the NCCA website. In summary, this resource provided us with an opportunity to appreciate the role of classroom-based assessment 1 in applied technology. We explored the structure of classroom-based assessment 1, exploring the application of control systems in a local context. And we considered the importance of the subject learning and assessment review or SLAR process for classroom-based assessments. On behalf of the Applied Technology team, thank you for taking the time to engage with this resource.